Okay, so our next speaker is Angela Caporelli, right here from Kentucky.
Woohoo! I'm not really from Kentucky, that you guys will obviously figure that out. I'm from Rhode Island. And when I started out in aquaculture, they thought it was underwater ballet. So that tells you how long ago that was, okay? But before I get into my presentation, I want to just take a moment of silence so everyone can put some positive thoughts and prayers towards our fellow aquaculturists getting hit with this Florence chick right now. So let's just concentrate on a lot of aquaculture that's going to be devastated, hopefully not too badly. Okay, thank you very much, because we'll hear about it, won't we, Jean? Anyway, okay. I'm from the Kentucky Department of Ag. I'm the aquaculture coordinator. I've been lucky enough to also have a background in marine fisheries and the observer program on the East Coast. So I bring a lot of those aspects. And one of those big ones is also the food safety in seafood. So fish comes under FDA, where everything else, meat and poultry, come under FDA, except for catfish. And hopefully Dr. Kim can help us with that. But what we did in Kentucky was a little different. We started looking at direct marketing. Am I doing this right? So my presentation is going to be like, who are you? What's your story? Where are you selling? What are you selling? And this will be available too. So are you selling direct to consumers? We have a bunch of farmers here, very small. We used to have a huge tobacco industry, and this part of the diversification money from the tobacco settlement was put towards aquaculture development, small farmer development. So that's where a lot of our funding came from in the late 90s. And some of those decided on aquaculture. So some of the questions we really wanted the farmers to think about, because when you're a tobacco farmer, you grow this thing called tobacco, which is basically a weed until you cultivate it, and then you pack it all up in the fall, and you bring it to a warehouse and you get a check. So our farmers that were transitioning didn't do direct marketing, they just dumped it. They didn't deal with consumers or pricing or anything. They got with the commodity. They were price takers, not price setters. So we had to change that whole thought process. And some of the things that were happening nationally really helped us, like farmers markets. I think it was Bob that mentioned how many farmers markets there are. There's over 8,000 in the US, okay? CSAs, community supported agriculture, a subscription type of buying and selling direct from farmers. And then there's the conventional wholesale distribution, manufacturing, and retail. You have your own shop. So all those questions, you gotta figure out how you wanna move this product before you even get into it, okay? Those are the things. Right now in Kentucky, we have 166 farmers markets in 120 counties. That's pretty big. And we have 111 CSAs. CSAs don't want to just sell tomatoes and cabbage and kale. They want to talk to other producers and include in their subscription some protein. And that's where some of our farmers can take advantage of it, okay? We did a study in 2008 through the Department of Ag about tasting. In our farmers market manual, which is available online through kda.com, kyagr.com, we have a whole sampling protocol that we worked with the Department of Health, we worked with farmers, how to give a safe sample at a market, okay? That helped us because what we found in the store, in this sampling, was prior to doing that demo, I wish I could read my own writing, for the product that we were promoting, we had 395 units sold. During the demo, it jumped up to 4,000. Units sold of the same thing we were demoing. And 3 weeks after we did that one-day demo, we still had repeat customers coming in of over 1,500. So we proved that sampling can be a significant marketing tool, okay? Plus you're one-on-one with your customers. Wait a minute. Okay. So why farmers markets is such a success is because people want that event. A farmers market now is more of an event. Bob and I were talking about selling at the farmers market. People get addicted to it. They want to go, they want to see their favorite soap person, and they want to see what the new veggies are coming out, or can they ask a farmer to grow something for them? Seafood production can be the same way if we focus properly, if the farmer wants to do it. But I will give you a word to the wise. If you don't like dealing with people, like me, don't do it. Find somebody who can have fun at that market, okay? Very important. How many people sell at farmers market? Anybody? Do you sell directly, or do you have somebody do it for you? Directly? You must like people. Yeah, right? Find somebody who can. Having kids around is great. We have a freshwater prawn seller. He's going to be at the market tomorrow. And 3 little kids, who I call farmers market rats, have been there for years, started their own little business. People would buy the shrimp. They'd bring it to these 3 little kids. Kids would charge them $1 a pound to pop off the heads. They had their own industry within the industry. Very initiative. But food safety wasn't an issue because that consumer already bought it. So it didn't have to go into those food safety concerns like HACCP. Okay? So those little things. You want to make money, you got to be ready for negative comments too. Okay? How many people have heard, I don't buy farm shrimp, or I don't buy farmed fish? Right? People say that to me all the time. I say, why? Well, they say it's not good for you. Well, I'm one of them, and I know it's good for you. So find out who they are and educate them, okay? Because that's all we can do. So these are all going to be, you want to sell the freshest and the prettiest products. Think back to that slide, I think it was in Kwamina's, with the 3 different shrimp. So it had tails on one side for $8.99 from somewhere. It had whole, locally grown in the middle for $19.99, and then it had tails again on the other side. Wait till that customer takes it home, pops off the head, and figures out they just bought $40 a pound of shrimp. Because they paid $20 for that pound of tails, but they only got a little bit over a half a pound once they took the heads off. So know who you're selling it to, because they're not going to come back if you do that, okay? And I'm kind of going all over the place because I hate presenting with PowerPoints. So you have to be prepared, have contact info for future. You want to get that nurturing that relationship with your consumer. So for 2 reasons, covers yourself on the safety side. So if there was a problem, you know who to get in touch with if they bought your product, or if you had to do a recall type thing. And you also have somebody, hey, I've got this bang shrimp harvest coming up. It's been really crappy weather. My truck driver just went on vacation. How would you feel if I gave you extra? You know, you need to know and keep those and be honest and keep that communication. Okay? Have fun with people and they'll buy your product. Okay? CSA, Community Supported Agriculture, has been a really growing thing nationwide. And it's almost an insurance policy to the farmer because those people know they take on some of the risk of that loss. But they also gain the benefits of a bumper crop. So you can use that as a good tool, plus you know exactly, close to exactly, how much production you need to fulfill for your next growing season, because they bought the subscription, okay? And then when you get those return customers, you can start bringing in other product or supplying other CSAs with your product, okay? There's one in Long Island Sound that is now a bunch of fishermen, and they got together and expanded a CSA predominantly towards restaurants, because they're customers too, and they pay $2,500 a month, and they're assured 100 pounds delivered every week. Now that could be squid, which is what now, 50 cents a pound, whiting, shellfish, whatever they decide is coming in, but that's a way to share the risk and also help chefs be creative. How many people here are chefs? Oh, thank God, because they are the most egotistical group of people you ever wanted to meet in your life. But they can be very creative. How many people have ever gone to the Cheesecake Factory? I get through page 3 of the menu, and I say there's no way this stuff can be fresh, okay? Those menus are going away. If you have good chefs, not chains, but good independent chefs, they want to be creative. They want to change their menu every week, and that's where farmers, local growers, are really going to find their niche, okay? They want local, they want fresh, they want to tell your story. Oh, I'm a third-generation farmer, I used to grow tobacco and goats, and then the tobacco industry went away, so I took my barn and I refurbished it. Who went on the tour yesterday? That was pretty cool, huh? Jason's done a good job. That's a story. That's a huge story, especially in Kentucky or this area that is historically tobacco-based, okay? That farm, neighboring it, is one of the top thoroughbred horse farms in the state. It's pretty cool, right? You can see a future Derby winner. Local foods that people think they can protect the environment, they're fresher, they're better for you, and they're not as expensive as you think. The nutritional, we've shown in studies, the nutritional value of fresh, local, that hasn't, been nuked with ripening agent in a huge warehouse at Walmart, no offense to Walmart, but it has much more nutritional value, so you actually have to buy less. Your body is getting more nutrients from less. And that's something to think about on the grander scale of some of your customer trends. What are the trends, okay? Foodies, this is last year's Food Restaurant Association. Where's the pointer on this thing? What are the trends? We hit 5 of the top: locally sourced, locally grown, healthful, kids menu. I had a kid who said, I don't eat any fish at the farmer's market last weekend. I said, just try it. All you have to do is try it. His mom came back and bought a pound of shrimp because she said, I can't believe he actually tried it. So I converted one 7-year-old. It's a start, right? And then sustainable seafood. We fall right into that, 71%, okay? Those are the things you want to have posted. Have it at your table. Have it in your menus. Give out sheets. Give out your contact info. As much as you can, market it yourself more than the program. Environmental issues. This is interesting. This is the total greenhouse gas emissions from raising different protein sources. So red meat is huge, 2.5 carbon per household per year, just from the meat consumption. Dairy, look at fish. Chickens, fish, and eggs is pretty low. I mean, it's broken down to transport, production, and wholesale retail. It's pretty low. I don't know what other miscellaneous is, but I'm sure it's not McDonald's, okay? So we're right in here. This is a good selling point, why you do what you're gonna do, okay? So who sets these trends? It's not the buyer of Whole Foods. It's not the buyer at Costco. It's the people who are buying that from them, okay? They're not gonna carry those beautiful Sunbelt shrimp if customers weren't buying them, okay? So you gotta know what they want and what they're willing to pay. There's also a big movement, a lot of research has been done in the change of seafood consumption. And Craig, just keep me on time. Am I going over? All right. It's coming of age. I just did a big research on the Millennials versus the Gen X. Millennials are 20 to 35-year-olds. Gen X is 36 to 55, okay? They want ready-made meals. Shrimp consumption went way up in the last couple of years because of Uncle Ben's shrimp bowl. That's the stuff they used to sweep up on the floor. There was no market for it, but somebody created a market for it, right? Throw it in the microwave, convenient and cheap. And then baby boomers, who are 52 to 71. Who falls in this group? I'm sorry. You can go now. Get it, okay? And this has really had a huge effect on seafood consumption and consumption overall, okay? It does make a difference. we found that the millennials and the baby boomers go out to eat an average of 218 times a year. That's like, what, 4 times a week? Right? Take away Thanksgiving and family dinners, you're almost out every night. Millennials, 199. They spend more money on fresh seafood, especially out in restaurants, because most people don't know how to cook it, okay? Interesting stuff. Use it in your marketing, okay? This woman, Sherry Frey, did a lot of this research. Pretty amazing woman, and you can read all that. One of the big takeaways is both the boomers and the millennials are more engaged with seafood departments. So they want to see, they want to feel, they want to go to that seafood counter and know what they're getting. And they have more trips, because nobody likes to keep stuff. Gone are the days when my mother, who had 8 children, had 2 shopping carts once a week. Who does that now? Right? How many times do you average going to the grocery? Once a week? Anybody more than once a week? Right? Oh, I forgot that. And I end up spending another $86.72. Anyway, but the big thing is they're much more tech savvy and convenience minded. So that's cool, because well, I should just talk to you Gen Xers, because then maybe somebody can teach me how to use my phone, right? They're much more tech savvy, big growing way to market yourself and your products, okay? C-stores are getting more and more into ready-to-eat meals, but fresh, not the ones you stick in the microwave there, okay? So we have this whole group that are marketing via social media, okay? They want convenient foods, but they're social media. And what have we found? They're very, very short attention span. So you need a good elevator speech at the farmer's market to move your product. But they do remember taste and flavor, and they want that replicated, okay? So it does matter. New flavors. Here's something I found in research on another project. In 1974, approximately 2.4 million people, US people, traveled internationally, okay? In 1980, there were 3 million people that traveled internationally. By 2015, there was 24 million adult people who traveled internationally, and they assume, they haven't gotten the data yet, but for 2017 it'll be over 30 million people. Another quick thing I found in my research is that 1 in 5 college students study abroad now. Now that might not have anything to do with seafood or marketing sales, but they are getting more adventurous, and they want those unique and different flavors at home when they get back. Something to think about, okay? So they want to cook, they want to buy, but they want those products that they remember from the coast of Greece, or that little villa in Italy. They want that fresh shrimp or that octopus or whatever. Okay, so here's the big difference. They're younger or older, boomers and millennials. They're out of school. They've either gotten their first job, so they're making more money than they ever knew what to do with, or they're retired. They have no kids, they're all out of the house. They have some expandable income, and they're much more interested in the environmental issues, travel, and animal welfare. Sorry, Gen Xers, you just got married, you're starting having your kids, you got school fees, soccer running, minivan, college is coming up, you bought a house, you had some more kids, now you got a dog. You got no money, time, or resources, okay? You're stuck in the middle of life, but there's a light at the end of the tunnel. You will get through it, and you will be able to afford shrimp yet again. Okay, people love the local, though. Chefs are loving it, consumers are searching for it, and they are really responding to what their consumers want, okay? So how are you gonna sell it? You're gonna whole or processed? We talked about some of the rules about processing and some of those requirements. Here in Kentucky, we're pretty lucky. We have a mobile processing unit, which we developed about 15, 20 years ago, 17 years ago, I've been here that long, in which we can process any of the seafood and caviar that we grow here, because seafood's under FDA, okay? So we don't need an on-site inspector like they do for USDA, although we can do poultry and rabbits with a very rigorous training program, and they do inspect us once a year. We follow all the HACCP rules and regulations, so we're pretty lucky to have that. I know Ohio tried to build one and might still be thinking about that, but seafood processing is not all that difficult. Because it's under FDA, you could convert a barn or a garage into a processing facility. Just work with your Department of Health, okay? All right. Wholesale distributors, great way to go. We even have some middle-sized distributors here in the state that have really helped move the local movement. It's a larger volume. They have much more specs as far as sizing, packaging, and grading. It's one stop, but it's less money, okay? Something to think about. But your keys to success is your determination, okay? Be creative, listen to what your customers want, listen to the researchers. When I walked in this room today, I thought, oh my God. Let's see, Bob's over there, he's got an awesome company. John's over here selling equipment. We have the head of USDA Aquaculture. And maybe he can help us get some of those high tunnel issues available for seafood production. We'll talk about that later. We've got Ziegler, this room is full of resources. Use them. Lunchtime should be a major networking session for anybody who wants to get into this, okay? Good communication, good follow-through, and know your limitations. Know what you want to accomplish, know what you can accomplish. What do you need to know? What about safety, zoning, shipping? What's available? When we had some funding come into Kentucky through the tobacco settlement, we had some really good projects in the road, right? A chicken processor, perfect. A catfish processor, perfect. They put them where the land was cheap, okay? Because they could afford it. Well, why is land cheap? Because no roads go there, okay? So you have to think, not only how are you going to get your inputs in, how are you going to get your product out in a safe, healthy, and high-quality way? Those need to be thought of too, okay? You might have saved $1,000 an acre, but you're definitely going to spend over that in transportation, okay? Things to think about. And then what do you need to work? If you're going to not sell a food product, but maybe the nopuli or the PLs, or maybe a sport fish, or something else, okay. You need to know those state and federal, and moving live products from state to state can be a huge expense that you might not have counted on. So those kind of things. What do your neighbors think? And after you hit up all your family members for those startup money loans, think about it, okay? Look for other opportunities. Why should anyone buy this? Why is my product better than anybody else's? Again, when that customer gets home and realizes he spent $40 a pound of tails, not a good thing. So know what you gotta do. Can you get into different products to fulfill some of those trends, those dietary trends, low carb, paleo, ready-made meals, okay? Or the industry needs stocking. That was a huge concern, okay? What are your customers, the age, blah, blah, blah. We already went through this. Historically prepare similar products. Will you meet your price point? And how's gonna do it for you? The less you handle it, the more profit you're going to make, okay? Listen to what people say. Use your resources. I can't educate. Educate yourself as well as all your customers, okay? But one thing is, too, packages, portioning. You know, I love going in to I look every once in a while at those frozen tilapia. Okay, have you noticed now they're not all frozen in a bag that doesn't reclose? They're frozen in there, but they're all individually wrapped. I live by myself, that's perfect, right? If I'm feeding a family of 10, I don't want to waste all that plastic. So there's something to think about that. okay? Can you complement with other products? Here in the bourbon industry, you can find anything with bourbon glaze on it, okay? It's perfect. As a matter of fact, the big push for aquaculture in Kentucky was because we had all this byproduct called distiller's grains. What do you do with that? Makes great fish feed. Hey, what an idea. So that's where we started, okay? Good management. Treat your staff well, because I don't know if anybody knows this, but if you put a penny in a lobster tank, within about a half hour, they're all dead. So be nice to your competition and be nice to your staff. Manage your billing and supplies well, treat your customers with respect, nurture your relationships with them, fulfill, and don't neglect your family. Because if mom is not happy, nobody's happy, right? We see a lot of this. We see that's why a lot of businesses fail. Small family businesses and farms fail because they're just not on the same page. Things to think about, okay? Again, communication, communication, communication. If you can't fulfill that order, don't overpromise. Make suggestions as to someone who can. Work together will grow. I'm out of time. All right, bye. Follow through. Know your limitations, don't overcommit, blah, blah, blah. Talk to people, do your research, use your network, and be prepared. Any questions?